There. Does it start recording? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And in 3, 2, 1. Go for it, dude.
What is going on, guys? It is your boy TKO Casinco, the next, and you are listening and watching the Joey G Sign Guy podcast. Let's do this.
Awesome sauce. Welcome, everybody. Episode number 36 of the Sign Rip podcast with Joey G. My guest at this time is the one, the only TKO Tyler Kasenko. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, you've gotten it. It's close enough. It's Kasenko, but
okay, my bad. I still get used to some. There's some people's names I still mess up. If it makes you feel any better, I accidentally kept saying Steven Azure of the Even Stevens name wrong 6 times on my podcast episode with him. So. So anyways, first off, for those who don't know, I've seen TKO wrestle at Invictus and Tough and Talented Wrestling before, and so far he has not ripped up any of my signs. I don't think he'd be interested in ripping any of my signs up.
You're my guy. Why would I rip up your precious signs, bro? I mean, I know there's some jerks out there that like to do that stuff, but if you're gonna make a sign for your boy, why would I rip that up, man?
Exactly.
So, beautiful signs.
Of course. I mean, if the jerk he's talking about is MCM, then yeah, they'll get ripped up.
That we'll get into that.
So, but TKO. First off, tell me, man, how you been? What have you been up to lately? You know?
Man, it's been pretty crazy. Been getting a little bit busier, going to all these wrestling shows again now that things are starting to open up. I'm sure. I mean, I've seen you out there. You're starting to hit up the wrestling shows yourself. So now that things are starting to get back to normal a little bit, definitely just been trying to make connections and try and get some matches in if I can. Haven't had too many yet. I've had 3 so far, in front of people, since the pandemic it's kind of slowed down and shows have been opening back up. But just been trying to do that. Plus, a regular day job and trying to go to wrestling training. So that's about it. But yeah.
Yeah, I get you on that. I also know that you're a big fan of SpiderMan.
Huge fan. Trying to lower this a little bit. Yeah, love SpiderMan. That's my guy. Freaking. Let's see. Got a SpiderMan shirt right here. Boom. Always on hand. Trying to rep 24/7, baby.
Love it. Which is probably what goes into the design of your gear, right? Obviously.
Yeah. I bounced back and forth whether I wanted to do regular TKO gear, which I'm gonna get soon, just normal, my colors, kind of like what I was wearing pretty much when I saw you at the last Invictus show, kind of like that vibe. But
okay.
Everybody that knows me knows I love Spider-Man, like you said. So I drew up a Spider-Man gear a while back, and I talked to some people, and they're like, "Yeah, that should be your first gear because you love Spider-Man and you love wrestling, so you should just combine it together." So that's why that was my first gear. I'm not gonna be Spider-Man forever, people think that's just gonna be my gimmick now, which is fine for now. That's what people, are seeing me as, and that's okay because that's part of me. I love Spider-Man. I always will. So, yeah, that's why that was my first gear, and yeah, it looks awesome.
Looks sick. I love it. I dig it. So speaking of Spider-Man, obviously the Venom movie just came out, and I'm pretty sure you just saw that. I know I just saw that. And when I saw that you were out there seeing it, I'm like, hell yeah, we got something cool, really awesome we could talk about on the podcast besides just wrestling. Because don't get me wrong, I love talking wrestling on the
Oh yeah,
podcast all the time. But I
yeah.
like to also get into the things that the superstars and everybody are into besides wrestling, you know?
Right.
So this
Yeah. Yeah. So Venom came out. I went the first day because I was already kind of getting like spoilers. So I was like, let me like, I just need to go just in case I see stuff online. Which once I saw it, I ended up seeing it. So if anybody right now uh didn't see it and they want to go see it, skip the next couple minutes if we accidentally spoil anything. Um, but yeah, Venom was pretty awesome. It was better. It was definitely better in the first, but I didn't like how short it was because I was just like, bro, like it just like ended. Like I kind of figured that Carnage and Venom were gonna have like a little bit more fights, but they kind of just built it up to Carnage coming and then Venom's side, and they kind of just met at the end, and it was good for what it was. But I wish they kind of had a little bit longer of a battle, especially how it just ended. Like it kind of seems like Carnage is gone. I mean, who knows what will happen, but yeah, it was definitely good. What do you think about it?
I loved it. You know, me and Billy went to go see it the night before Northeast Wrestling's Better Than You in Danbury. You know,
Okay,
so we had to kill some time leading up to the show. I was off for the entire weekend, and
there
I
you
was
go.
like, "What do you want to do this weekend?" He's like, "I don't know. Want to go back to doing what we always did before an NEW show?" I'm like, "Let's go see a movie." And Venom just happened to be going on the weekend of it. I was like, "Hell yeah, let's go!" So
Yeah.
we jumped on it immediately. Got some popcorn, some soda, grabbed a bite to eat before the. I mean, obviously, grabbed the popcorn and soda after we grabbed the regular bite to eat as it was, and then just caught the Venom movie, and I loved it. You know, I loved everything about it. The end credits I loved a lot, which I
Yes.
won't say
Good.
anything on here without giving people spoilers because I'm that guy that doesn't want to spoil it for people.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I'm pretty excited. That was pretty much the main thing I didn't want spoiled because everybody was saying, "Oh, the end credit scene, like, oh my god, it's pretty nuts." And I had an idea because like I always am like on the loop with that stuff. Like I pretty much know like a bunch of stuff that's happening for the Spider-Man movie that's coming out. Like as far as like who's gonna be in it. Like I mean, everybody does if you're like following on that stuff. So like I'm in that community. Um, and so I kind of had an idea what was going to happen, but that's why I had to see it the first day just so I wasn't like fully spoiled and saw the end credit scene, but it's definitely got me excited um for what's to come. I'm not sure if it's going to happen if Venom's going to show up in a certain movie or if someone's gonna show up in the next Venom movie, but we'll see. We'll see. But I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait for that. So going back, TKO, what was what was your first memory of wrestling? Like what got you into wrestling as a
Okay.
fan first off? Like what drew you in? Like do you
Yeah. Um. So I guess we'll take it back to. I'm trying to think. I think it was the wrestling figures because it wasn't initially seeing it on TV like probably a lot of people. You know, some people say, oh, they were flipping through the channels, blah blah blah, or like they had like a friend or a cousin that um was watching it and then they came in, watched it with them. Um when I was like 7, I went to daycare after school and a lot of the kids were into wrestling, but I was still into like Spider-Man, all that stuff. I would play with all that stuff. But then they started bringing in like the wrestling figures and um there were so many kids that were like playing with them. Obviously, then I just started playing with them. but I didn't know who anybody was. And then one of the kids brought in the PlayStation Portable with
Okay.
SmackDown Raw 2007. So then he would like really show me like who they were and what they did and all that stuff. And that's pretty much how I got into it. And I remember like as far as furthest going back, I remember specifically, and this is why Rey Mysterio became my favorite. That he looked like Spider-Man in the okay, because he had the red mask.
I got
So
you.
I just immediately connected to him, and he had like the eyes that looked like Ray, so or like Spider-Man. So he one of the kids, because back then you could beat up the girls. He had Rey Mysterio versus one of the divas, and he did a 619 and then a West Coast pop, and I'm like, bro, this guy's like the wrestling version of Spider-Man. So he became my favorite. I connected with him, and then one day, then I was flipping through the channels, and what do you know? It was my boy Rey Mysterio on the screen. So I was like, you know what? I'm hooked. Started watching SmackDown every week, and then eventually I found out about Raw, and then started watching Raw and all the pay-per-views like that. So it was like 2007, 2008 in that era. And yeah, and then I would just play with the wrestling figures with the boys at daycare. So that's how I got into it. And then SmackDown vs. Raw, 2007, of course, the one of my favorite wrestling video games. They need to make a remastered version of that.
I agree with you on that.
It's a great game. But yeah, that's how.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I said no. That's just how I got into it. The games and all that stuff. So
I got you, man. That's really, I like hearing the different stories from everybody on my podcast, that's a really interesting one. You end up going to any shows as a kid or?
yeah, my first show was I went to a lot of shows, but my first one was it was a house show in Poughkeepsie. I think it was where they had WrestleFest. I think it was at that same venue.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. And so they had a Road to WrestleMania. It was in like 2009, and like Kelly was there, the Boogeyman, Christian, and I think the main event was Edge and Randy Orton. They teamed up for the first time in a while because they were on separate brands. Edge had the world title, and then they faced Shawn Michaels and CM Punk. I think John Cena was supposed to be there, but something happened. So I think Edge was the replacement. That's why he was on that show.
I think I might have actually been at that same show.
You were, because we're in like the same like area, so I'm sure you were there. But yeah, that was my first one for sure. And then I went to like a bunch after that. So
Yeah, I think I definitely was at that first show because that main event sounds familiar and it just clicked in my head. Shawn Michaels and CM Punk versus Randy Orton and Edge. So it makes sense. I was definitely there.
See, look at that. And here we are, years later.
It all comes full circle.
Cool.
But yeah, so going to shows, Rey Mysterio becomes your favorite, and everything, and then out of nowhere, you're like, well, you're not like what made you out of nowhere just be like, you know what? I'm a big fan of this. I can actually do this. Like, I want to get in the ring. What made you say, hey, I could do this?
Honestly, I don't know if this is going to be a boring answer. I don't know. I kind of just, after a while, just watching it, like I've always wanted to be in entertainment. As you know, I do YouTube videos. So, yeah, I figured one day I'll try it out, and if it sticks, it sticks. But then as like I became more of a fan, I was like, no, I definitely like this is what I want to do. Like especially once I started traveling, going to like shows and like just seeing like the spectacle, I'm like, no, I have to be like a part of it, not just like watch it. Like I have to be in there, like experiencing that because it just sounds and it looks like a great job. And just as a fan viewing it, it's been great, you know, being able to go around. But I want to actually experience that. And yeah, it was nothing specific though. I think it was just over the years of just being a huge fan and like just being like, yeah, I think I definitely can do this for sure.
That's awesome. And obviously, like so many others I've seen from Invictus, you you came through the Team 3D Academy
That's right. Yep.
with Bully Ray and Randy Shawn, right?
Bully Ray, Randy Shawn. Yep. And been there for the past, well, if you don't count the pandemic, because we're out for a good while, they shut down the school. But I've been there since the beginning of 2019. So, and then we had that little break. But yeah, I've been training for a while. And then this past summer, started having my first matches. And yeah, here we are. And I'm still going there today. Always learning. You know, if you're a wrestler out there, make sure you go to a good school. And Team 3D, if you're in this area, is definitely the best place to be because we got great guys coming out of there. You know, we got your boy Gio, got Wrecking Ball goes there, Clipper Jones, that jerk off MCM. He unfortunately goes there and I have to deal with him there. But yeah, it's a great school though, and Randy Shawn, he's great. Bubba, of course, you know, Hall of Famer, always there to critique the stuff that you normally like someone wouldn't see, and that's always a huge help. So it's a great school for sure.
And Bully Ray is an amazing teacher, right?
Yep, awesome. Yeah, his knowledge. If any of you watch Busted Open or listen to it, you know that guy's got years worth of knowledge to just spread all the time and always learning something new. And yeah, he's been a great teacher. And yeah, he's definitely and he's someone that's like made it. So it's like he knows what he's talking about. It's not like someone that's like just giving you advice just to give you advice. Like he knows what works and what doesn't work. So um yeah, he's been a great teacher for sure.
That's awesome. Now, obviously, you know, I want to say that because usually on my podcast I ask about the guys, whoever I have's on their first match that they ever, you know, refereed or they wrestled in. You know, in your case, I've seen actually both. Obviously, you're the first. You're like, I mean, you're probably the second person I've seen the first match ever of on the podcast, and
Okay.
you're also the first person I've ever asked who also I saw referee first at a show because I
Yeah.
know you were
So
there. Oh, my bad.
let me clarify. So I did technically referee uh like two matches before that first Invictus show, and it was
Oh,
at unless you were at Keystone Comic Con. I don't know if
okay.
you were in
No,
Philly. Okay, so technically that was my first one, but that was like I didn't really know what I was doing. So, but I refed Geo versus Wrecking Ball
okay.
because it was all the students at Team 3D. We had to put that together. Like we had people from our school doing the announcing and um and the referee, the like Danger Hawk Dennis Morgan was doing the music if he wasn't wrestling, and I was refereeing and then announcing. Like it was a big jumble. Like we all had to work together on that. That was fun. I wish I vlogged that, but unfortunately I didn't. But I will say I'll give it to you. You did see technically one of my first like refereeing gigs. So yeah, and that was the first Invictus show. And then you've pretty much seen like all my referee matches. So yeah. And then of course you were there for my debut against Jerk Off Chris Mojo. So yeah.
And we'll get into that in a second. But I always love asking this question to anybody who was there on that first day at the farm, because I love discussing the first show because I was there at the farm on the first show. And so this is the first ever Invictus show. You're rolling up to the famous farm for the first show, and you pull up, and what's your first thoughts? Obviously,
that was not what I was expecting at all. I knew it was outside, so like we pull in. This is, if you guys want to, you kind of can see my first reaction on my channel. I like somewhat vlogged it. We pull in, and like we see a bunch of cars with a house, and we don't see a ring. We're like what's going on? So then we stop, and the lady's like, no, it's like in the backyard. So then we pull in, and we see this huge farm. We're like, oh my God. We're like, what are we gonna have, like a Wyatt compound cinematic? Then so yeah, we pull in, then we see the big Penske truck. There was cow shit everywhere. Bunch of hay barrel things. And then there's our boy Alex, sitting there going over the card and whatnot. And then our guys setting up the ring, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. And we got through. We had some technical difficulties because we were out on a farm, but we made it work that first show. But yeah, it was a fun day for sure. And then of course every event after that has just been a step up for Invictus. But it's funny definitely looking back at that first show, like we definitely came a long way from the farm. I feel like we have to go back at some point, like just for shits and giggles, or at least on a farm setting, for like maybe like if next year they decide to do like a Halloween show, like it'd be like, spooky, like on a farm or whatever, just to throw it back. But no, it was interesting but fun to look back on being on that farm. And yeah, it was a fun show doing that.
I loved it, especially because I had not been to a wrestling show in months up to that point, and I was going crazy, and you could tell. My friends looked at me like I was nuts when I said, "Yo, let's drive like 2 hours to Jersey to go check out a wrestling show that's going on for Invictus right now." And they're like, 2 hours? Are you sure? And I'm like, yes. What the hell's wrong with you guys? We traveled like an hour to go to Bethany. What's another hour we usually traveled like an hour to go to NEW. So like, what's another hour down through Jersey and everything? And then, I'm not gonna lie, it was a pain in the ass to get down there, but in the long run, it was worth it for us. We had a blast at the show, and hook, line, and sinker, we've been going ever since now.
Yeah, that's great.
But obviously now going forward, your debut match, Ossining, New York, Invictus let them fight. Now, did you have a clue that you were wrestling on that card before you got there?
So, I don't know. Did I? Might have had an idea after he beat me up. After he beat me up at the show previous in Bloom, I was like, you know what? Chris Mojo, I just had enough with him. Okay. First off, they took my shoes. So that pissed me off. They stole my shoes, my Jordans. Okay, those aren't cheap. They are expensive.
They pretty much pulled an Eddie Kingston on you.
Yeah, they stole my shoes. Got choke slammed. Very high. It was not, not no little bump. It was a tall fella. Um, and yeah, then Chris Mojo just kept egging me on. So finally, I just had enough, and I heard let them fight. New rising stars. I knew I was training. A lot of people that were following me knew I was training, so they knew I was going to be in the ring eventually. So I talked to management. They said we'll work out something. And then once they said Chris was gonna have like an open challenge, I knew I had to get into it somehow. I had to get involved somehow with it, whether someone else was gonna come and then I was just gonna beat his ass after, or some call. But fortunately, Alex lent me the opportunity to actually be the one to face Chris, and we made it happen. So yeah, I had an idea that I was going to be on the show, but you never know with wrestling; things happen last second, card subject to change, all that stuff. So yeah, it was definitely a exciting day for sure. Definitely waited 2 years of training, and then of course, like 10, 12 years of watching it for that day. So it was a very awesome day, and I appreciate you for being standing for me, because I feel like, yeah, my thing said TKO, but this guy right here was the one chanting TKO, got the rest of the crowd going. So it was a fun night for sure, and didn't get the win, but I showed him that he's not gonna just push me around anymore. So, and it's not gonna be the last time I face him in the ring. So yeah, we'll take it from there.
Without a doubt, And like I said, we popped hard when we saw the referee shirt come off and we saw the TKO gear, the Spider-Man looking gear. Because my friend Kelsey was with us that time, Kelsey, she was like, "So who's MCM Wrestling?" And first she's like, "Oh, there's the ref. I like him. He's awesome." I really hope somebody beats this guy's ass for like treating him like crap. And then she saw like the sleeves, the shirt comes off and the pants come off and the gear, and we popped hard, like, oh my god, and we were going crazy for that. And I think we got loud as hell. I mean, you know how loud we can get for that. But
Yeah, that was the point. Like I was like, how do I get this guy? Like, because if I just come out, I don't know. I feel like since people knew me as the ref, like I kind of want to show that I was the referee for Invictus, and that I'm done with the refereeing. I'm done with getting pushed around. It's time to push back. And I wanted a little bit of a surprise for everybody's, since I'm not as well known. Like, I'm kind of known, but I wanted that element of surprise, since it wasn't some like huge name on the indies. Like, I still got that surprise for you guys, and so that's awesome that you guys still pop for that. And yeah, that was my plan going into it. Being like, oh, the referee's in there. Who's he gonna face? Oh my God, the freaking ref! He's wrestling now. So
I think we popped because it's like the element of, this is the guy getting like pushed around for a while. We've seen getting pushed around at the past few shows, and then all of a sudden he's ready to take care of business. It's like it's kind of like, I know it's kind of like Peter Parker running around the corner, ripping open the dress clothes. Out comes Spider-Man.
I had the Spider-Man gear, and I was finding ways to, like, I still might do this, still, like, as far as like ripping clothes off to like show the Spider-Man gear. Haven't figured it out yet, but I kind of want to keep that going. But if I don't, that first one, I wanted to do something like that. So yeah, that was another reason why, because it was like I have Spider-Man gear on, so I'm like ripping off my regular clothes to be in my, my essentially my costume now, to to go fight somebody. So yeah, that was the idea of it.
And I'm glad we were there to pop for you. You know, I know I know me and my crew definitely popped for you. I also know I was glad because I know on the other side of the ring on the other side of the chairs they had a lot of MCM fans. I don't know how anybody could like him.
I heard them. They're all calling me nerds, just like him. I definitely heard it for sure. So it wasn't all cheers. That's another reason why I appreciate you guys. You try to drown it out, but yeah, of course, Chris is always gonna have his little posse there and their ugly purple shirts. So yeah, unfortunately they were there to kind of ruin my moment. And I'm glad that they got theirs by having Chris win. So good for them. But next time those little purple things come, they're not going to get that same happiness, okay? Because I'm going to beat him in. I'll beat his face, his little pretty MCM Man Crush Monday face. So, yeah, but it's all right. They got their moment. Blech.
Now let's talk about another match you had not that long ago, which I was so happy to see you at for Tough and Talented Wrestling in Torrington, Connecticut. That was out of nowhere that we saw you there.
Too. It was out of nowhere there for me too. So like I said, I've been going to shows a lot more to like get my name out there and make connections. So Invictus, I'm sure you know because you were following them. They did the Polyam Fest. Everybody knows what happened with that. We're not going to get into it.
Fortunately.
But I showed up to that just to help out and whatnot. And our boy Clipper Jones, who was in the main event, clips up, foes down. Shout out to him.
Love Clipper.
Clipper's great. So he gave me a call and he was like, hey, someone's down, or we're down a guy. Is there any way you can like come in because you're like the only person I know? And he's like asking for people. And so I'm like, yeah, we'll see, but it's looking like a no for now because I'm like all the way out in like New York, New Jersey, like helping out. And I was told I might be able to wrestle on there. So it was like, do I want to stay here and help and like possibly get a match or like drive, 3 hours and, get back to Connecticut and wrestle there and not even knowing how much I'm going to get paid. So once everything happened with the Invictus show, I called them back and I was like, hey, I think I might be able to make it. And you're like, great, just get here by 7. So I drove down there. It wasn't that bad of a drive. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I got there at like 6:30. I show up. The promoter tells me who I'm working. Bing, bam, boom. I'm on the show. And I didn't even know you were going to be there. So it was great seeing you. Of course, you were cheering me on. But yeah, it all happened last second just because, someone was down a guy. And the same thing happened with my second match with when I faced Randy Shawn. Gio was supposed to be in that match when I faced Randy, and something happened with Gio that it was like a booking or a personal matter. So I stepped in and I had that match with Randy. So that's pretty much the wrestling business. Especially when you're first getting started. You just gotta show up and hope something happens, and that's pretty much what I do for all these shows. You always gotta bring your gear. So like the last show that I saw you at, the Invictus show or any of the NEW shows, I always have my gear.
Just in case, right?
Just in case, you never know if they need an extra guy. But yeah, that's what happened with Tough and Talented, and it was great. That was my last match so far. But yeah, we'll see what's next for you, boy. But yeah, that was another one. Didn't get the win. He got the best of me. Got my neck. I didn't see it coming, and yeah, he got me on that one. But hopefully I can return back to Tough and Talented, because that was their first show, and it was pretty well run for like their first show. I know the guy's run shows before, but that was like his first Tough and Talented, and it was my first match in Connecticut. So hopefully I can be back there and soon. And yeah, it was a fun day for sure.
It was a blast for us too, because you know, we went there. Obviously, we were there to support Clipper. We were also there to support the stepdads, obviously. So it was an awesome surprise when and I didn't even know, I caught you when we were sitting there. They were doing the tribute to the guy Big Jim who passed away, and I caught you at the corner of my eye coming through during the tribute, and I'm looking at Billy, and I'm like, yo, I'm like, that's TKO, man, from Invictus. He's like, oh yeah, dude, that's awesome. So we were really stoked when we saw you. He's like, another guy we know. This is awesome. And of course, we know Tony Cini as well, you know, from the previous Invictus shows. So it was really cool to see some more familiar faces besides who we already knew from there.
Right.
You know? So that made us really happy. And we knew, I was like, all right, well, we definitely got to pop hard for him. Like, we got to pop harder than we did at Invictus for him now, you know? Yeah. So, and then you came out, and then boom, TKO. And I got some people who were sitting with me that didn't even see you from the initial Invictus show. Like, obviously me and Billy knew, but then like I had like my buddies with us, and we were getting you going. And my other buddy, Don Kincaid, he was going. I was like, yo, Joey G, you guys were popping hard for that TKO guy. I'm like, yeah, we know him from Invictus. It's like, oh, that's the freaking ref. Oh my God. And it like he remembered instantly too.
That's cool. That's cool.
So, but yeah, that was awesome experience, you know. It was an awesome surprise. TKO, I got some questions from some people if you don't mind.
Okay. Bring it.
All right. First question is from my buddy Terry Duffy, and he asks this question on every episode of the podcast. He asks, if you could create a custom title, what would it look like, and what kind of match would you defend it in?
A custom title. Like, it would be like my title, or like a certain like category.
Like, he means like what would it look like? And
like something that anybody could like win and defend, or like an internet title where it's like pretty much just mine.
I think whatever you want it to be. You know, he said just a custom title. So I'm thinking like he thinks like SmackDown vs. Raw, create a championship kind of thing, like create your own custom belt, and then what match would you defend it in?
Okay. And what was the second part again?
What kind of match would you defend it in? Like a specific match or a regular match, or?
Okay. So I think we'll have the strap be blue because that looks nice. Might have some like red in it, you know. Maybe throw some like webs on. I don't know. No, we'll have a blue strap, and then maybe like the plates look like comic book like pages, and then have like a camera on like the side, and then maybe I don't know, like the social medias and stuff, like kind of like an internet title, because I kind of like that concept of like an internet title. So, and that, of course, that's a part of me, like my gimmick, you know, just being on the internet and stuff. So throw that stuff in there along with the comic book stuff. And then, I don't know, I guess we'll just put my t-shirt logo, the TKO with the Spider-Man eye. And then we'll have it spin because we love spinners. And that yeah, we'll make it look like that. I don't know if anybody can visual that, but we'll go with that. And then it will be some like, you know, internet social media title. where I will defend it. I will defend it anywhere. So it'll be like a hardcore title too, or like a 24/7 title. So it could be like any match. But if it was like in the ring, I guess just like I don't know, just like a hardcore match, just a fun, fun match for everybody with weapons and stuff. I haven't done that yet. We're probably a long way from there, but I can't wait to maybe smack Chris Mojo with a kendo stick down the line or something or whatnot. But yeah, we'll go with that. Some like internet.
Right. I like that. I like the sound of that. I can visualize that right now. So
yeah, and I can make it a part of my vlog. Like I can make segments with it. Like I could wrestle you. I'll wrestle you.
Okay.
We could do something with it. Like if I had my own belt, I know I'm not the first one to do that, but like it's definitely something like that you could make like little skits out of and like segments or just have a match anywhere. So yeah, I think that would be fun. Have sort of like 24/7 internet title.
I would definitely think that would be a cool concept,
Yeah.
Yep. He also had another question. It is, what has been your favorite moment of your career so far?
Well, like I said, I've only had 3 matches, so probably my debut. But the Tough and Talented was pretty cool because when I like came out after, like just seeing all of you guys like just come to me, like and all the little kids and stuff being all excited and stuff, that was pretty cool because like as like you could see in the background, like I'm still a mark, like I still have all this stuff in the background. So like I know what it's like to like, want to go see a wrestler or like take a picture with them. So it was pretty flattering to like, I've had like people in the past like recognize me from YouTube videos and like want like a selfie or something. Which I thought was like, I mean, obviously I'll take a picture with you, but I just thought I wasn't anything special because I wasn't like this huge YouTuber. But like after like wrestling for people and then them wanting like to just get a picture with me or like just interact or something, or the little kids like the SpiderMan gear, I thought that was pretty cool like in itself for that. But yeah, I'd say either my debut, just because all of you guys were there and I had some family and friends there. It was pretty fun. And then the aftermath of the Tough and Talented, that was pretty cool. But yeah, my short little 3-month run or something, that's probably the 2 exciting things so far. But I'm looking forward to next year. Hopefully big things happen. Maybe we could do a part 2 and I'll have a better answer. But yeah, I think my debut and greeting the fans after Tough and Talented so far have been my favorite.
That was special afterwards. I have very fond memories of that show, So we stopped at Taco Bell on the way home too. That's always been like a Connecticut go home tradition for every show that we've ever gone to now.
I think I had to after my first match, that was like the only thing open near my house, so I had Taco Bell too. After
nice.
After that, yeah, my mom's like, "Hey, you want Taco Bell?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" So, what's your go-to at Taco Bell?
I switch it up a lot. I'm gonna go my favorite cheesy gordita crunch.
Okay. Usually when they have something new come out, I'll get that, but like I'll also get the chicken quesadilla and then like 3 tacos. Like that's like automatic. But like if they have something new and it looks pretty good, which most of the time it looks bomb, I'll get that. But yeah, my go-to is like the chicken quesadilla.
That's a good one too. I've had literally everything on the menu at one time or another. So I'm a big mark for Taco Bell. But, I think it's kind of obvious. What's up?
Do you get Baja Blast?
All the time.
Yeah. You see, this is the